Hey, sweetie, I've got a bit of a favor to ask you.
Hey, honey. Sure. What's up?
Well, you know that my dad passed away a couple months ago, right?
Yeah?
Well, my mom hasn't been coping with his death too good, living on her own and everything, so I thought that maybe she would be better off living with us, at least for a little while anyway.
Oh, well, I don't know. I feel sorry for your mom, don't get me wrong, and I don't want her to feel lonely, but having her live with us is quite a big thing. We would lose all of our privacy and we wouldn't be able to do what we want when we want to anymore. You know? Maybe we can see if there's another way, like maybe she could sell her house and we could find her an apartment or something nearby so that she could come around whenever she wanted, but so that we can still have our space as well. What do you think?
Oh, well, I think that she might already have moved in.
What?
Yeah, I kinda told her that she could move in already. She's in the spare bedroom.
Why would you do that? You didn't even ask me before you went ahead and told her that she could move in? Now what am I supposed to do? I haven't even had any chance to get the house ready.
She doesn't care about the state of the house. She's just happy to not be alone. Please, just give this a chance. For me?
Okay, for you I will try.
Thank you. Okay then, I guess I'll see you after work.
I'll see you after work. Love you.
Oh, this house is such a mess. How do you expect me to live in such a pigsty? Huh, Sophie? I'm living here now too, so you can't just leave it a dump like this. Got it? Honestly, I don't know why you think it's okay to just leave it in such a mess. Have some pride, will you?
Oh, hi Delilah. I'm sorry about the mess. I didn't know you were coming to stay with us, and so I haven't had a chance to tidy up a little bit.
Well, that's not my fault. There's dirty dishes everywhere in the kitchen, not to mention that the surfaces are covered in crumbs and food splodges. Besides, you shouldn't be leaving the place like this regardless of whether I'm here or not. How do you expect my son to be able to live in a house like this? You are supposed to be a wife, so do your wifely duties and make sure that the house is clean. My son deserves at least that much.
It's really not that bad, Delilah. There's a few dishes from breakfast that I wasn't able to get around to cleaning yet, as I had to rush to get to work. And maybe there's a little bit of laundry about, but when I get back from work, I'll tidy it away.
Well, I don't want to be living in a dump. You need to come back now and clean the place.
I can't do that right now, Delilah, as I'm at work. I can't just drop what I'm doing and rush home to clean just because you want me to.
Oh, then what am I supposed to do? It's much too dirty and messy for me to live happily here. I can't stand it at all.
Well, if it's truly bothering you that much, why don't you clean up the mess? Or you could even go out until I get home from work, or maybe just go to your room and sleep or something.
You seriously just suggest that I clean up your mess? How lazy are you? I've only just moved in, and already you're trying to foister all of your household chores onto me. What? Is that what I have to do for the honor of living in your horrible, messy house? Do all of the chores?
No, Delilah, that's not what I was saying at all. I'm not making you do any chores. I just meant that if the mess was bothering you, you don't have to put up with it, okay? But I was by no means demanding that you clean the house. I can do it when I get back from work.
Well, I guess I'll just have to live in this filth until you deem it important enough to clean then, shall I?
Sure, Delilah. That's what you'll have to do. I need to go now. I have work.
Ugh, I honestly have no clue what my son sees in you. You don't even make a good housewife. You do none of the chores, clearly, and I bet you don't look after Joe properly. He probably has to do all the chores himself. It wouldn't surprise me if he even has to cook for himself too.
Yes, I do, Delilah. I try my hardest to make sure that the house is in order, even though I also have to work. I'm the one who is always cooking the dinner, cleaning the house, and doing whatever other chores there are. Joe doesn't help out at all.
Not true. My Joe's perfect. He probably helps out when he needs to. He does more work than you, both in the house and at his job.
Okay, Delilah, that's just entirely not true at all. But I'm not going to argue with you about this again, especially not right now when I'm at work. So if you continue to message me, I'm sorry, but I just won't answer. I have very important things to do right now, and I can't be distracted from them by nonsense.
Oh, so suddenly anything I find a problem is just nonsense? How rude of you.
Look, I didn't mean it like that, but I really don't have time to talk anymore. We can sort this all out later. Goodbye, Delilah.
Sophie, we need to talk.
Joe, what's wrong?
How dare you talk to my mother the way you did? She didn't do anything to deserve your rude and abrupt behavior.
What? What are you on about?
You can't play dumb with me. She told me all about your conversation with her earlier. She told me that she messaged you simply to ask if you were going to do any cleaning when you got home, as the house was a bit messy, and she wanted to know whether she should clean it or leave it to you. She didn't want to do anything wrong or put anything where it didn't belong. But then you exploded on her, telling her that it was none of her business and that you were too busy to do any cleaning, that if she wanted the house to be clean, then she would have to do it herself. She's literally only just moved in and you're trying to make her the maid? That's my mother.
Okay, none of that happened. I mean, yes, she did message me this afternoon, but it wasn't to ask about if she could clean the house. Instead, she began spewing a barrage of horrible comments at me, telling me that I wasn't good enough for you and that I wasn't a proper wife, as I wasn't doing all the chores at home. She even demanded that I leave my work and go home just so I could clean the house for her. She was really vile to me, Joe, considering it is our house that she has moved into.
I doubt that.
What?
I doubt my mom would be so rude. She's not a rude woman. She's actually one of the sweetest women I know, and I resent the fact that you're trying to blame her for your horrible behavior towards her this afternoon.
How can you just believe her like that and disregard everything I have said? I'm your wife, Joe. I think I deserve a little bit of consideration when I tell you that your mom was the one who was the one being horrible.
That's just a lie. I don't appreciate you lying about my mom like that, Sophie. If this is how you're going to behave now that she's moved in with us, then we're definitely going to need a good talk to lay down some ground rules.
You know what? Yeah, sure. Let's have that talk. And we can include your mom, and we can all lay out some ground rules. We can also share out all of the chores.
What do you mean by that?
Well, now that there's going to be 3 of us in the house, there's going to be more mess, which means more work required to clean the mess up. I can't do it all by myself, especially considering that I'm working until 6 every night. So, I'll have to have help to get it all done.
But
That means you as well, Joe. You can start picking up some of the slack too.
I have work too, you know.
Yes, and so do I. So it's only fair if we even out the chores. And your mom can help as well now that she's living with us.
Fine, we can all talk about it when we get back.
Great. I look forward to it. Joe, you need to tell your mom that she needs to help out around the house more. I mean, have you seen the state of the house? It's a mess. There are dirty dishes everywhere, some with half-eaten food still in them. There's a constant smell of cigarette smoke. Your mom's dirty clothes are everywhere. I seriously can't live like this for much longer, Joe.
Well, then clean it up. If you hate the smell and mess so much, do something about it.
I would, but I've had to pick up extra shifts and overtime at work just so we can afford the increase in bills. I literally don't have time to clean up when I get back.
Well, that's convenient now, isn't it?
Joe, I won't be finishing work until 10 tonight. That means I won't be home until about 10:30, 11. I then have to get up at 6 a.m. to make sure I have time to get ready for work, which I need to be in for at 8 a.m. the following day. Where in that time frame am I supposed to clean the house? Huh? Or am I just not supposed to sleep, or eat, or have any time to myself?
Well, then maybe you shouldn't work so late.
I literally can't, Joe. Do you know how much the bills have increased monthly?
It can't be that much.
They're roughly 200 to 300 more.
What? How is that even possible?
I don't know. Ask your mother.
Well, you'll have to figure something out.
What?
Well, yeah, look, my mom is going through a really tough time, so I can't expect her to just start acting like a maid. She can't go around cleaning the house just because you want her to. She needs time to adjust and get over her husband. She can't do that if you're making her do all the housework and whatnot.
Fine then. You'll have to help out a bit more then. You'll have to do a bit more cleaning and tidying whilst I'm working overtime.
But I really don't want to do that. I mean, I'm the husband. I shouldn't have to do the housework. That's the wife's job.
Excuse you?
You heard me. Housework is for women. That's you. So you'll just have to figure something out in order to keep the house clean. We can't be living in such a pigsty.
What on earth has happened to you?
What do you mean?
Ever since your mom moved into the house, you have steadily become more lazy, more demanding of me, and much more demeaning towards me. It's ridiculous. I don't know what your mom is telling you, but whatever it is, you need to stop listening to her because she is completely wrong and outdated in her views.
My mom has just made it a bit more clear about who should do what in the house. You can't blame her for just straightening things out and just letting me know how things should be between a man and his wife. Obviously, you wouldn't tell me what should be happening as you just want to try and control everything. Well, that's not going to be happening any longer.
What on earth are you on about?
I'm the husband, and so you'll do what I tell you.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
Well, whilst you contemplate the actual consequences of your actions, I'm going back to work. I've got things to do.
You can't just turn away from me. Not like this. You're going to stay and listen to me as I talk to you, and then you'll come home and do what I tell you to do.
Can I just ask you something?
What?
Is this how you're going to be from now on? This attitude of yours? Or will you go back to normal if your mom moves out?
Look, you might not like it, but this is the new me. My mom has opened my eyes to how things should be, so I'm not going to be changing back into my old ways at all. Like it or not, this new me is who you'll have to get used to from now on. Oh, and we're not getting rid of my mom.
I see. Well then, I clearly have a lot of thinking to do.
What do you mean? Thinking about what? Sophie?
Sophie, you answer my son right now. You can't just start ignoring him. He's been trying to contact you for ages.
Well, I have work to do, along with a few other errands, so I don't have time to have a chat.
Husband is trying to talk to you, so you can't just ignore him.
I have nothing left to say to that man anymore, not since you've poisoned him against me.
Well, maybe you should have been a better wife then, huh? Maybe then he would actually see you as his wife.
Or maybe you should have minded your own business, left me, Joe, and our marriage alone, and lived on your own somewhere instead of coming to my house.
Maybe someone's moody that they didn't get their way, and that they've lost control of their husband.
Whatever, Delilah. I have important work to do, so I'm leaving.
What?
What?
I regret my decision to let you marry my son. Waste time. File for divorce immediately.
It's done. The divorce is finalized and you've moved out.
Huh? What are you on about?
Exactly what I just said. I filed for divorce. I might have jumped the gun saying that it's finalized, but it will be very soon. The judge will see the case soon enough and grant me the divorce. So, it's as good as finalized.
But why?
You're seriously asking me why? Have you seen how you and Joe have been treating me these last few weeks? You've both been utterly vile to me, demanding that I do all the chores, see to your every need, and basically become your slave when I'm at home. You two have literally pushed me to the point of breaking, and I don't want to live like that anymore. I asked Joe if he would kick you out of the house, and he said no. So, if that's the way he wants to be, then so be it. He can stick with you if that's his choice. I'm gone.
Well, fine then. We don't need you anyway. You were never good enough for my son anyway. He deserved so much better than you. Someone who would actually act like a wife is supposed to.
Uh-huh. That's great. Oh, but before I forget, I just need to tell you that you and Joe will have to move out of my house.
What? You're kidding, right?
Nope, I'm incredibly serious.
This house is my son's. You can't kick us out of it.
Actually, this house is mine.
What do you mean?
The lease of the house is in my name. I'm the one who pays the mortgage and all of the bills, so I get to decide who lives in my house and who doesn't. And obviously, I don't want you living in it anymore.
You can't do that.
Yes, I can actually.
But you're just the wife, not the man. The man owns all of the things, like the house and the car and stuff.
They might have done in the 1950s, but in the modern era, women can actually own things for themselves. Shocking, I know, but that's just how things are, I'm afraid.
What are me and Joe supposed to do now? Where are we supposed to go?
Well, as the man, I'm sure that Joe can sort something out, right? He will get you two a new place before you know it.
You know that he can't do that. He hasn't got the money. Besides, I don't want to live with just him. He's a slob, and I can't live in a house that looks like a dump.
Well then, maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to be completely horrible to me. Oh well though, it's not my problem, so I'm just going to let you deal with that. I've got more important things to do.
Like what?
Like actually having a day to relax by myself for once. It's been a long time since I've been able to actually sit back and relax, and I think I am definitely going to enjoy it. See you later, Delilah. Oh, and if you and Joe aren't out of my place by the time I get back, I'll call the police.
But no, you can't. This is my house, not yours.
See ya, Delilah. After getting the divorce, I really did kick Delilah and Joe out of my house. I was sad that I had to leave Joe, but he really had changed for the worse due to his mom, and I couldn't live in such a toxic environment any longer. Although, it was quite satisfying to kick them out and finally have a clean house to come home to again. After they left, I heard that Joe and his mom had to move into a tiny apartment, as they simply didn't have the money to buy a new house. But I guess that's karma when you honestly try to make life horrible for someone for no reason. As for me, I ended up selling my house and using the money to travel around a bit. It was something that I had always wanted to do, but never got around to due to marrying Joe. So far, my trip has been amazing, and I can't wait to see what life brings next.